Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 25 of the All Around Podcast. Today's date is Sunday, October 8th, 2017. I am Jeremy. With me always is Nicholas.
Hola.
And today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Grant, at the end of the table.
Hi.
Grant is, he's been on our live streams before, so I'm sure you guys have heard his voice. If we are ever playing with Sora of the Light, that would be Grant.
That's me.
So now you get to put a face to that name.
Mm-hmm.
And, this episode 25 is going to be a very special episode because it's a milestone episode for us.
Woohoo!
And
Quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Close,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not 100 years. Yeah, quarter of a century, sure.
25 is quarter of a century.
Okay, yeah. 25% of the way there. Here we go.
Grant's been thinking we've been doing an episode every year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
it's like, I mean, that's a little difficult seeing I'm only 23 years old, but you know, whatever works for you.
Straight up. Coming straight from the womb.
Every time he's been watching an episode, he goes, "Why the fuck aren't they saying yearly review? This is bullshit. Why are they only covering a week's worth of news for a year?" Okay, so anyway.
This episode should be like 10 months long. What are you doing? So anyway, we're going to talk about Destiny.
Yes.
Destiny 2. And we've been talking about it for a while that we were going to do this episode, so we're finally doing this episode.
Yes.
We're finally here.
We got to play all of it.
Yeah,
finally.
Most
importantly, yes.
Yeah. So, we're going to start the way we normally do. I'm going to give you the reviews, critical reviews, user reviews, and then we'll go into opinions. And we're only talking about Destiny because there's a lot of opinions and a lot of shit to talk about, unlike a normal episode.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot.
Destiny 2 got an 85% through like professional reviews. That's on Metacritic. That is an average of both the Xbox One and the PS4 scores that they were given. Does not include PC because, for those of you that don't know, it's not out on PC yet until the 24th of this month.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with an average between Xbox and PlayStation, it got a 9.7 out of 10 user score, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And it got a 9 out of 10 on IGN. It's definitely a contender so far for first-person shooter of the year, if it is not shooter of the year.
Yeah.
But we do still have Call of Duty and Battlefront coming out, which are both major shooters. So we'll see. But it's off to a really, really good start. So, getting more into opinions, what do you guys think of the gameplay so far?
So, initial gameplay, it's definitely very similar. I mean, just even a heads up too, like, me and Grant have played all of everything of Destiny 1.
Oh, yeah.
So let's, just start
I
with the
played
disclaimer.
8 hours.
Yeah. So let's start off with the disclaimer there.
Oh, and, going into even that, I really liked how they paid homage to that in the beginning of the game.
Oh, totally, 100%.
For those of you that don't know, in the beginning of the game, they go through and be like, hey, here's what you did, and here's who you played with when you beat it the first time. A lot of those had Nick's name in them
Yeah.
on mine.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa. Well, no, you were in all of mine.
Yep.
Piece of shit.
I was in all of his, and
Yeah.
he was in a few of mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Somebody decided to raid early.
And what was interesting, though, is when I did it, and they're supposed to do all those cutscenes, I just got, hey, there's this thing in the sky called the Traveler. You get powers. Now go fight.
You were
And that was
You were a guardian once.
Yep, yeah.
It's just,
Yep, basically.
But now I was a young guardian.
but no, with gameplay and stuff. A lot of stuff is similar to Destiny 1. They pretty much improved what they needed to. Nothing, outstandingly different.
Right.
At least from what I noticed.
Yeah.
Most of the guns worked exactly the same. So far, even most of the weapon classes stayed exactly the same.
You don't get your Sparrow right away.
That's very true.
It's a little different.
There's not a lot of room for spare
Yeah.
use in the game.
That's
period.
the thing, too. They really tightened in on the map of what's important in it now. Before, they focused on making, a super vast open world to explore in, but then at the same time, there's a lot of blank space.
Yep.
This one, you're not riding your Sparrow more than a minute and not encountering either a public event or some type of, epic enemy fighting or just random...
having to get off your stupid
Yeah,
Sparrow.
exactly. Or to
Because you
hop off
can't-
for a mission, or you can't explore there because of oh my gosh, what are they called? The Lost Zones.
Lost sectors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lost sectors.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot. So gameplay wise, I would say it's pretty similar. But at the same point too, I didn't think Destiny 1 had really any flaw with when it came to gameplay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when it came to just overall functionality of it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, I really like that it's the familiar feel.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything new. I'm not scared to check anything out.
No,
'cause
yeah.
It's all something that I've done before, and I like that a lot.
Nice. Was it, Jeremy, for you, was it like any more enticing? Or was it just kind of like, oh, okay, I know what I'm getting into with it? Or...
Well, I mean, I played 8 hours of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little, like, okay, this is a thing. But, like, going into the second one, like, I had to relearn the controls. I had to relearn what I was doing. I had to relearn what things meant, how you got things. So it was basically like I was starting the game from scratch without ever playing the first one.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of what I expected it to be,
Mm-hmm.
based off of the little bit that I played of the first one, plus how much I expected to get from it out of the trailer. So it is a lot of what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it felt good, and it was actually. I was thinking about it when we first live streamed, and I freaked out about the arc bow staff thing.
Yeah.
It's a game that I didn't feel like needed gameplay touches immediately. Like there's been a lot of games that I've picked up. Injustice 2 was one of those games. Marvel vs. Capcom was one of those games. NHL 18 was one of those games. And I played the game and I was like, this needs patched. Like this needs work.
Yeah.
And Destiny, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel it at all. It was just kind of like, okay, this is good. I can play this and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like when we first played Overwatch and I was like, okay, this runs smooth. This is cool. Gears 4, this is cool. This is great. So not many games can come at you without needing a first day patch for a super big glitch or a super bug that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So,
especially nowadays.
So I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
pretty much, yeah. It's pretty
Cool.
much
So going off of gameplay, something that Destiny 1 didn't really have was an inclusive story. There was lore. There were things called Grimoire cards that you could pick up and go online and read about the lore and stuff like that.
Not in game.
Yeah, not in game. Yeah, you couldn't learn about the lore in the game. You had to go online.
Yep.
But there wasn't really much of a story. There was kind of like, hey, this is a thing, this is a thing, this is a person, these are the people you talk to, go do your thing. In Destiny 2, they introduced a real story. There were cutscenes. There were a lot more character interaction, character development. There were semi-emotional scenes, things that just added more depth to this game. Were you guys pleased with the story?
100%.
100%. Like, even like a slight addition of campaign to this would have been 100% better than the first one.
Definitely.
But honestly, it plays really nicely. It kind of brings me back to how I felt playing Halo 3, which is fitting because it's Bungie. But it getting together with all my friends, go and do this epic campaign, especially with some of the ending parts that we won't spoil. But like, literally, you could be like, man, this feels like the ending of Halo 3.
Yeah, it gets super epic. and even kind of flipping the coin there, like even the beginning sets you up in the best way for how much better and how much more influencing like the story is on this one.
Yes.
Like in the beginning, you're seeing like all the main characters, they get introduced not in some really boring, long, drawn out thing. No, it's like literally one small cutscene, stuff gets hit, you're in essentially a defense mode now, trying to do ground control and meeting characters on your way to progressing to the end, which I thought was super cool. They introduced each character really well. Not long enough because it's a shooter, so obviously you just want to keep going, like run and gun. But at the same time,
Shaxx was my favorite introduction. They didn't really tell you who he was, but him being there.
Well, plus the flame sword is definitely what did it.
Oh yeah,
He's yeah. but yeah, so they definitely did a pretty good job with that. And then they kept an overall campaign really focused. Like you had cutscenes in the middle to give you a heads up on what was happening next. You got a feel for when you should be advancing from planet to planet. And in Destiny 1, I think a big issue that I had, and this might be just me, was like you would do the main story mission of it, and then you would do a couple more side missions, but they didn't even feel connected. So I was just like, oh, okay, I just do 3 missions on this one, but wait, why am I only doing 2 on this one? Like, it was just kind of random and didn't make sense to me. When in this one, even the side missions all have some relevance to the story.
Yeah.
And each
even the missions that you get, the side quests after the campaign, based off of the people and things that you've done, it's like those even add more to the character development,
Mhm.
which I appreciate it, because a lot of games that are RPG-esque, a lot of the times the side quests don't matter that much. Like, they're
Yeah.
not.
I mean,
And
even the main quests in some RPGs, they're kind of like, eh,
Yeah.
don't even read the text.
it's like,
Just go to
yeah,
post
click
game.
through it.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But in this, I mean, like, after you beat the campaign, you go through everything and you can go and do these side quests. It's just like you're interacting with characters that you've met in the campaign. They're telling you to do different things based off of different stories that are just in the background that are important and pertinent, but they're not key to the story.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the little mini adventures, and I think that's a cool like add-on that they did for a first-person shooter.
So that's why
That's
they
awesome.
called them adventures.
It's all connected.
All connected.
But going off of kind of what you were saying before too with Grimoire cards, what's really nice in this one now too is all the lore you can look up all in game.
Yes.
I mean you can look up the same lore technically online, but yeah, all of the information is provided for you in game.
So much better.
Yeah, they add a lot more flavor text to all the weapons and stuff like that, which is really cool. So yeah, just and even for for example like the raid or certain individual strikes or even certain story missions, they drop specific gear for those events and give you specific quotes and stuff for each of those, so you can kind of get a whole story arc of what's happening. Besides just the initial cutscene of, hey, this is what you have to do, this is why you have to do it. So,
Yep. And
yeah, I
then
thought that was
also,
super cool.
while you're playing through the game, if you want more lore and more story and stuff like that, basically there's 3 different types of characters. There's a Titan, a Warlock, and a Hunter, and each one of them have a subclass. And you start with one subclass, you can unlock the 2 others later on in the game. But when you do it, you have to go to this place and do this thing, and while you're there, there's these, like, hologram-esque ghost type things that pop up.
Not to be confused with the ghosts.
Yeah,
in
not like the
Destiny.
ghosts
Yeah.
that follow you around and do
Good
things
call.
for you. They're like actual like spooky ghosts, but not really. They're more like holograms, like in Star Wars when you see a little
Yeah.
hologram.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, off topic. So you can go up to these and you can get story and lore and hear about different characters and their adventures from the past and stuff like that while you're there, and you can choose to do that because some of them can go 5, 6, 7 minutes just talking and you just listen. But if you don't care and you just want to play this game to play the game, you don't care what's going on or why things are happening, you don't have to. And that's one of the things that's really cool. Like, it's not something, and I appreciated it because it wasn't something that you had to go find. Like,
Yeah, no, not at all.
for example, Kingdom Hearts is a perfect example of this. So in Kingdom Hearts, you can find these letters, and you have to do special things to get these letters. And if you want to get all 10, 12, 13, 14 letters, you get the letters, you do all these different things to read about it, and you're doing that just to get them.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, it's like they're feeding it to you, and you can turn it away, which a lot of games don't do when it comes to lore and story. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
They
true.
don't give you the option
just
to
kinda
be
shove it
like,
down your
hey,
throat.
yeah. And I mean, Bungie said that we were going to get so much story in this game, we were going to get sick of it. But I thought everything was great. Like, I loved the idea that they kept feeding us all the story.
Well, what's cool too is like, and even after us beating the raid and stuff like that, like, and with upcoming DLCs, I only want to know more.
Yeah.
Like, I only want to know more of how stuff tied in. I mean, even like, to keep stuff spoiler free, I still want certain characters that were very important in Destiny 1, even with its lack of story. We haven't heard about them at all in Destiny 2.
We've heard mention of some of them.
Yes,
And
so I'm very interested to see where they are, what they're doing, if they're even still alive.
yeah.
Certain even factions of, like, enemies and stuff like that on certain planets. That was a whole major DLC expansion for Destiny 1. We haven't heard anything about in Destiny 2. I want to know what's going on with that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But going off of, like, all that story content, yet again, too, it was like that whole setup was relatively in the beginning. It was it was still within the first hour.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was cool. It was essentially, I treated it as like a museum tour. Like, you just got to take, like, the pieces of what you wanted. And most importantly, too, I think if you did listen to all of them, they broke it up well, too.
Yes.
Like, the first one was solely based off of, like, how this subclass even became a thing.
Yep.
The second one was, like, the main founder of how they founded it and then flourished it. And then the last one, or, like, technically the third one through fifth one, was how did they develop each of those subclasses in the main ones.
Yep.
And then what those tie into with lore or what they tie into for those specific classes and stuff, which I
And
thought was super cool.
I really liked with the second one where they're telling like the founder how they kind of told it like a story.
Yeah.
like-
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like, oh hey, this is who he is, this is how he founded it. It's
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't like a fact
he
sheet.
did some kind of fucking amazing thing,
Yeah.
and that's how he created it.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
I thought that was
It wasn't
cool.
bullet points. It was like,
Yeah.
this is like the story of
Yeah.
how it happened.
Mhm.
It's overall amazing.
So what's really cool with Destiny is there's a level up system, just like other RPGs, and you go up to level 20, and the story and the campaign, they all happen between level 1 and level 20. And then the game's over. Except it's not, because then post-game starts.
Yeah.
And post-game is then what, and the reason I put post-game is because
It's a
some people
whole
consider it's not a post-game.
But it's a post game.
This is, it's
Yeah.
it's post-campaign. But this is where everything else starts. Because once you hit level 20, you have access to multiple different parts of this game that make it have replay value. It makes it what it is. It makes it the MMORPG it's supposed to be.
Well, also too, there's a whole new well, it even technically starts at the beginning of the game too, but there's a whole different leveling system. Where
Yes.
it's power leveling.
Yep. Yeah. So speaking of power leveling, you have a power level. In the first game, it was called your light level,
Mhm.
and every single piece of gear and weapon that you had, it had a different light level. In this game, it has a different power level, and you stack on the power level to get a higher power level. So in addition to your overall level, that basically just gives you access to things.
Mhm.
You have your power level, which is really how strong you are, what you can do. The current power level cap is 305.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which is not necessarily easy to get to if you're not like constantly playing the game.
Constantly. Okay.
Yeah.
That's me.
Well, I'm not 305. They're both 305. Shows a little bit of a difference. But once you hit post game and can do all this, you have so many more options that make this game replayable. So one of the first things that you can do is Crucible.
Mhm.
Crucible was in the first game. Crucible is in the second game. Crucible is PvP, player versus player. This is where you go in and you fight against other people, and the power level of your gear doesn't really matter against other people. Everything's kind of scaled to equal.
Well, really quick too, that's what's really nice about Crucible, and usually for a lot of new players too, like if they're ever asking like me, like what should I get into first, that's usually the first thing I recommend, just because you can
Get
always
used to the game.
Exactly. Well, it gets used to the game. You can actually check out other people's builds and see how they kind of play off stuff, especially like, of course there's PvP specific gear, but I mean, especially armor loadouts that are just good for weapon handling and stuff, which works universally in a game that's a shooter. But yeah, and then the best part is you could go right out of beating a campaign and then essentially be playing against someone who is a 305. And at least on that PvP match, you guys are even. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, guns and stuff obviously have a heavy influence, but if anything, it gets you into the mindset very early of noticing a skill gap and how to attain, you know what I mean, the difference there. I think it's very important.
So now, I didn't play any Crucible in the first game, but from what I understand, Crucible in the second game is very different from the first game. So, Mr. Veterans over here, do you guys want
I was just gonna say,
I mean, Crucible, it's essentially the same thing. You got the same modes, like your death match, your essentially search and destroy,
kill confirm, all those.
kill confirmed, all those kind of things. Speaking Call of Duty terms,
Yes.
the main difference is where in the first one you would have fire teams of 6, you now have fire teams of 4. And there's no lone wolf playlist. You can't do free for all or anything like that. Yeah. It's all teams of 4. And there's a competitive playlist and a casual playlist. I think they call it something different, but it doesn't.
Quick play. Exactly.
Yeah. And essentially, I mean, from what I've noticed, they're pretty much the same thing. There's just different. They rotate different.
Yeah, I mean, especially with how players treat them, the gear loadout isn't even any different. There's not even a competitive necessarily rank. Which I think that's probably just kind of Destiny's way of saying, hey, this is a mode that's intentionally made more seriously, and this one's not. But the only other difference I think with competitive is that the rotation is a lot more precise.
Yeah,
I think
a
with
more structured.
Exactly. I think with quick play, they're just like, play whatever game mode on whatever map.
Yeah,
it's not like nearly as team coordinated per se.
And I mean, with the Crucible, you still have your events with the Crucible, like your trials and your Iron Banner, Iron Banana, what have you. And so a lot of it's the same. Like again, gonna kind of keep harking on the fact that a lot of it is the same.
Yeah, a lot of it's similar, but
But
it's
improved.
It's good. Yeah,
It's improved.
It's good.
Yeah.
And the thing is too with I think a major thing Crucible wise is the reason why they did such a big structure on the team size is because the maps are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
The maps are
Oh, yeah.
significantly smaller.
It makes matches go a lot quicker too.
Yeah. Well, and there's always a lot more action now.
Mhm.
There's never a dead zone of where people are like walking around. Like literally, if you respawn an area and you don't see anybody, 9 out of 10, the next corner you're gonna turn, there's gonna be some type of fight happening.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'm running around the map for like at least like 5-10, not 5-10 minutes, but like
Well, but
a couple minutes
no,
just
but
trying to find
I
somebody
was
in
gonna
the
say,
first one.
well, it's funny that you bring that up too, because another thing that they don't have at all in Destiny 2, which they did have significantly, which I remember people like would desperately run to in Destiny 1, was vehicles.
Yeah.
So the thing was, they tried to super incorporate vehicles in Destiny 1, but then the problem was, it was everybody running to them all the time,
Mhm.
and then if you couldn't get to one, you're doing a pretty long trek out, you know what I mean? Like, even
Yeah.
personally being a warlock, I remember that's why on PvP I stuck with Voidcaller so much, because just getting that teleport blink just made it
Could
that
get you
much
closer,
easier
yeah.
to travel, so...
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that made it a lot easier. But overall, I would say yet again, especially when it comes to a more streamlined competitive, just purely off shooting and skill based, yeah, I would definitely say it's an improvement. I mean, when
Much
it comes to like overall fun, I mean, yeah, I would like eventually for them to have like one type of big map with maybe some type of vehicle.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I would really love to if they brought back, which they probably will, but they haven't yet. Not solely with Crucible wise, but competitive wise, like Sparrow Racing.
Oh
I would
yeah.
love for stuff like
yeah.
that. I would love for stuff like that, and I guarantee they will. It's just yet again, it's all vanilla Destiny 2 right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So all right. So moving on from Crucible. So in the game, there's different types of things that you can do mission based. There's the campaign missions. There's side quests. There's these things called adventures, which are like mini side quests. There's these things called patrols, which are even minier adventures.
Yep. To shoot
and
stuff and
yeah,
get stuff
it's-
or go to a point.
Yep, and then there's public events, which randomly spawn at different times and are basically the same mission in different spots.
Mm-hmm.
But you can team up with people and get loot, and it's fun and it's engaging. You can turn them into heroic events by doing special things and make them difficult.
Yeah.
There's also strikes, and strikes are basically the length of a story mission, if not longer.
I would say longer.
Some of the story missions were pretty long in this game.
Oh, definitely. But the main reason though is because it's like the boss fight.
Yeah.
It's a streamlined mission into a major boss
Yep.
fight.
So you have a boss fight at the end of these mission strikes. So I didn't play strikes in the first one. I heard strikes are pretty different in this one.
I mean, strikes are relatively the same. I think the whole thing though is the strikes that you're doing now are very different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, like the progression system of how to get to them is pretty much the same. But what I do love with these strikes now in this one is there is usually a lot more going on. Like now, there's definitely specific times where there's like a platforming segment or like a super. I mean, in a very, very
Everybody loves a platforming segment.
yeah, in a very, very small scope. There's like certain points where they're very team coordinated. Like a perfect example, like you and me were just doing the strike today, where like we had to take out a ship, and then the second we took out the ship and then blew up a couple enemies, and then the main captain, a ball showed up. You had to take that orb to a spot to then deactivate a shield, and then me and the other person on our fire team had to run in, go past there. So like there's a couple parts that require so they section each part I think very well. And and the boss fights are really good. I mean they're super engaging.
Tough.
Yeah, they're difficult. I mean obviously if you're a good power level though for this one you shouldn't have too much of a problem as long as you look at the recommended for it.
Oh yeah.
Mr. 8 Barrier Jutsu.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect example. So I'll go into that like just super quick. So one cool feature about one of the bosses for this one is do damage to him at first, teleports to one of 3 platforms, and then has shields around him. You then have to go to what was even in Destiny 1, the Vex circles, to then eventually activate them, but they're in 2 locations based off of which corner he teleports in. Get those, deactivate his shield, do damage, and then repeat.
Yep.
So they just do that really well. Each one very minor detail that I think is like really good improvement for Destiny 2 as opposed to Destiny 1. bosses in Destiny 2, all of them have a final phase, whereas in Strike-wise for Destiny 1, certain bosses didn't. So it was just kind of very easy pattern memorization, do this, beat. Whereas opposed to in this one, if for that boss, for example, if we do enough damage, as a Vex, the head blows up and he starts staticking and his pattern goes way more sporadic and he starts doing auto fire as opposed to calculated shots. So it's cool. It totally makes sense.
Basically becomes a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, starts doing stomps 36 times and bounces off the map.
Stomps the yard.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot. But
So
it's good.
In addition to strikes, there's a special kind of strike, which is called the Nightfall Strike.
Hey, we did good on one today.
Which is a little bit more difficult, but it's also timed.
Yes.
And every Nightfall Strike has a different timer on it, right? Or
Yes and no. They're all timed, but it depends on there's these skulls that modify the Nightfall every week, and these skulls change. There's generally so far there's always been a time skull that changes how the time works, and then there's one that just changes some kind of element. Generally with the time skulls, I know this week they have anomalies on, and so anomalies are little like balls of light that you have to shoot, and it gives you 30 seconds more.
Yep.
In the first week of Destiny, they had one where depending on if you killed enemies with a certain amount of or a certain type of energy, you got extra time.
Yep.
And there was one where you had to jump through rings.
There's a ring one, which was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That was the only one that I tried. We didn't beat it either.
And then there was also the one where you didn't have anything that edited your time. You just had a super long timer. But the nice thing with that was you were able to... It really shortened your cooldowns. So you could just spam grenades the entire time.
It was so much easier.
It made it easy, and it made it kind of fun.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Earth mode in League of Legends.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was good. I mean, that's the major difference if we are talking about like difference between Destiny 1 and 2. So Nightfalls were still just as relevant and honestly just as important too in Destiny 1. You needed to play them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need to play them with the squad to get better gear to prep you for the raid. That's always essentially post game, extra missions, Nightfall, and then raid. That's usually the tier list of what you want to do in ways to get better gear. But yeah, the biggest difference from Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 is the timer. A lot of people, including ourselves...
Was there no timer in the first?
There was no timer at all. Nightfalls you could take as long as you want.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. What made a Nightfall different than a regular strike in the first game?
Well,
the modifier skulls.
Well, the modifier skulls and also the power level was a huge gap as well.
There in this one they have the prism skull, which you're familiar with, I believe.
Yes.
Where it changes the element that's more powerful
Randomly. Yep.
In Destiny 1, in Destiny 1 they just would have arc burn or solar burn or void burn.
In general.
And those skulls, any damage type, either yours or enemies that did that element did extra damage.
There's also kind of random ones too. They had one where no matter how much your character was, you could only casually jump. You couldn't boost jump. There's another one which was a real pain depending on the week, was if your whole party wiped, it was a full reset. A full reset for the Nightfall. So those were really tough. Yeah. Especially in certain maps. Or strikes, I should say. Especially in certain strikes, that was a real pain. Thank God they don't have it in this one, because they're more focused on speed.
We don't know that yet, Nick.
That's listen, if it has, I would rather, here's my thing.
This is a wooden bookshelf. I know you can't see it, but you can hear it. Listen. That's me knocking on wood.
I would rather, in some strikes, have that than a timer. Because then at least I could take it slow and survive.
But Nick,
what?
That and a timer.
No, I'm not doing it that week. I'm skipping it that week. I'm burning it that week. That's the worst week of all time. So there's definitely differences. That one's, honestly, I would say it's still up for debate.
Okay.
I really cannot say I would say it's equal. It's equally as annoying. That's how we have to say it, because Nightfalls suck. They're difficult to do. I mean, God, the amount of gratification you feel when you beat one is awesome, but it puts you... Well, I was even going to say, it puts you through so much shit just to beat it, that typically, the gratitude is just finally, not, oh my God,
We did it.
accomplish this.
It's not like beating the raid. You're like, yes!
Yes, exactly.
It's like, well, I'm done for this week.
yeah, thank God I can get this one engram that I've been fighting for.
Yeah.
And
some tokens.
Yeah, ooh.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so real quick, there's a couple, there's like 3 things you guys said in there that we should like spawn off of.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So, one of them is engrams.
Okay.
So, anybody that hasn't played Destiny before, engrams are basically like mini loot boxes that you get, and they're these like little gems, and they're like probably this big if you were to pick one up, and they're awesome. They're super cool to look at. And inside, you break it, and it gives you a weapon or armor. I don't know if
you take it to an engram person, and
he
then
decrypts it by
yeah,
smashing
exactly,
it with a
yeah,
hammer or some shit like
you
that.
take it to
I don't
it,
know.
yeah.
So anyway, and sometimes
Straight
you don't.
Shadow of War style.
Yep, I wish it would be
sometimes you don't though.
I wish it would be like an engram hammer. It's all digital.
And
Anyway,
sometimes you don't. Sometimes you pick them up in the wild and they just give you the stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
So there's different tiers of them.
Wild
There's
Engram.
As you said, wild. That's the first thing I thought of. Just a Pokeball. Anyway, sorry.
so there's rare ones, there's legendary ones, and there's exotic ones, and each one of them will give you a different type of weapon.
Or blue, purple, yellow.
Blue, purple,
In
yellow.
that order.
Also,
Yeah.
guys, there's bright engrams.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Those aren't
I'm
important.
getting there.
They don't
I'm
exist.
getting there. Okay.
Okay.
Wasn't there yet.
That's all you. Go for it.
So these different tiers of engrams will get you different types of gear. Some they'll be higher level. They'll be special ones from doing special things, like the strikes, the raid, the story. And there's bright engrams. Okay, so bright engrams are they're clear or white, and they get you shaders that you can use as consumables to change the color of your outfit or your gun or whatever. And you get them when you technically level up. So once you hit level 20, you still gain experience, but instead of going to level 21, you just get a bright engram. So those are really cool. You can get them for doing a lot of different things, but you can also get them from what Grant said are tokens. And tokens you get by doing every single thing in the game. You just get them for a different person. So strikes have their own. Crucible has its own. The raid has its own. Story missions has its own.
Now, just to keep from confusion, you don't get bright engrams from those. You get,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, bright engrams you only get for doing the fake level.
Or any other engram besides bright.
Yeah.
Yes.
You only get
You have the
bright from
potential-
leveling up
Exactly.
or spending money.
Or spending,
So you can spend money on bright engrams if you really want to buy them.
to get cosmetic stuff. One, and also just super quick too, just for bright engrams as well. It's all cosmetic stuff. So potentially you can get purely cosmetic looking armor that you can infuse into to make better. Sparrows, ships, shaders you already went over.
Yeah.
And then
Emotes.
also emotes. Yep, that's the other like super big one. They're
all
probably
cosmetic
expanding
stuff.
it more later. They'll probably add a bunch more. But yeah.
So these tokens, so you get these tokens, and you get the tokens from different things, and you can give them to different people on each planet or different areas for whatever they're assigned to.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah, depending on what it is. And you get them, you give them to them. Typically it's 20. Everybody's a little bit different. But you get 20 and then they give you an engram. And the more you do this, the higher your power level is, the higher these engrams will go up. So eventually you'll hit a wall, and it might be like the same number like 10 times. But you keep doing this and you keep getting in, they keep giving you better loot. So there's multiple different things that you can do in that with the tokens, but you can also break down the guns and stuff that you get from these engrams, turn them into weapon parts, and take them to the gunsmith, and they work the same. So constantly, no matter what you are doing in this game, even if you aren't earning loot, just being in there and picking up an engram in the wild, or killing an enemy and finding a chest or whatever, you still are earning some way to get loot, which is something that I super appreciate in this game.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think
It makes it a lot easier.
It makes it more satisfying. It makes it feel like I'm doing this for a purpose.
Well, something that's really cool that I think they didn't have, they definitely did not have at the beginning of Destiny 1. They definitely got by the end of it. And that they really could go in strong with Destiny 2, is that with gaining loot, redeeming them, recycling them, there's a perfect circle now of anything you get, even if it's something you don't want, you can turn into something and then put towards something else. So it's like, if you did get this, epic gun, but it's a duplicate, but it's higher power, you can infuse it.
Yep.
If you don't infuse...
Or even if it's not a duplicate.
Exactly, yes, exactly. If it's the same weapon type, you can infuse it. If it's a weapon you already have 15 of, and it's a worse power level, you can just disassemble it to get weapon parts, and then just put that toward the gunsmith. So there's always different options that you have, and it's really good, because it's no matter what you're getting, you always know you can put it towards something else to then net you more stuff constantly, which is really important.
And the cool thing with that too, or were you gonna say something?
I was going. You go. We'll come back.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say the cool thing with all that too is there's two different things in the game. One of them is called clans. One of them is called factions. Clans, you can pretty much be just in a clan with all of your friends. It's cross-play. You can have them on PS4. You can have them on Xbox.
Can't play together.
Yeah, you can't play together. I'm assuming you're also going to be able to have PC players.
I would assume so.
Yeah, it's not confirmed,
Yes.
but we would assume so.
We're confirming it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we work for Bungie. We just confirmed that shit. But anyway, so you can join the clan, and the clan has a level up system, and once you hit to a different level, you get different perks. But when you complete the Nightfall, when you complete Crucible, when you complete the raid, you'll get different things, or different engrams for it. Plus you get XP, and the XP will get you engrams and stuff like that. The factions there's 3 factions. There's Dead Orbit, there's the New Monarchy,
and Future
and
War Cult.
Future War Cult.
Which you
The
should
one that
know.
does-
because
No,
you're in that
I
one.
know that. That was I was
Oh, you're-
skeptical on Monarchy.
Yeah, New Monarchy.
Okay, so the New Monarchy and the Future War Cult. So
It's
you can
the,
join.
actually the old monarchy.
So you can. Well, see, I didn't know if Monarch was the
No,
right
you're
word.
good.
But anyway, so you can join one of these, and then as you do stuff, you get tokens, and then you can turn the tokens in, and then they give you engrams, and it's really cool.
Well, and just something that's like different from this one. I don't know if that's what you're.
I'm
gonna
totally.
go off of.
I think we're gonna talk
Okay,
about
cool.
the same thing.
So the one thing that's really different with you go for it then. You got it.
So they kind of had it in the first one, but they didn't. They weren't as rewarding. Is what they call milestones or challenge. Not really challenges, just milestones.
Yeah.
And each of these milestones reset every week. So a lot of times you'll repeat it, or it's going to be something completely different. I know one that's constantly every week for us is the raid. But each one of these, they either reward you one of 2 things. Either a reputation bundle, which is more coins that you can turn in for legendary engrams, which are the purple ones, or they'll reward you a, what do we got, 5th type of engram.
Well, it's still an engram, but it's labeled as powerful gear.
Yeah.
They're
Which
actually
is-
called luminous engrams.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Because they do
that's what
glow.
Luminous Engram is.
There we
Yep,
go.
luminous engrams, and they will always be higher than your current. Or if you're at cap like us, they'll
Yes.
always be at cap.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they'll always be higher than your current average power level.
Now they are also purple, right?
They
Yes.
kind of. They're
But
like
Purple with a
they're
glow
a
yellow.
they're a
Yeah.
magenta.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
yeah. Yes. But
yes.
Yeah, but going into a little bit more back with factions, a major difference with Destiny 1, yet again with 2. I apologize ahead of time about how much we have to compare this, but the only way to compare this properly,
Well,
or the
also,
only way to
let's-
really put a review on is to compare them.
Let's also clarify it real quick though too. Destiny 2 is not just a sequel to Destiny 1. Destiny is an MMORPG. So this isn't like Black Ops 2 is to Black Ops 1. This isn't Gears 4 is to Gears 3. It's a sequel, but it's a continuation. So one of the things that they did between 1 and 2 was at the beginning of 2 you start with nothing. So if you played 1,000 hours in Destiny 1 and
But you can transfer over your character.
yeah, see, you can transfer over like cosmetic stuff, and your character and bring him over. But you don't have any of the guns you had. You don't have any of the weapons you had. You don't have any of the gear you had. And they added that into the story.
It's a pain. Stop. Exotics.
They fixed all that by adding it into the story and stuff like that. But
We got it
this
back.
game,
Yeah.
We got
Literally.
it back.
We got them all back. It's okay. It's okay,
I'm-
Nick. It's
I'm-
okay, Nick.
I'm getting it for the first time. So.
Yeah, there we go.
But anyway, so Destiny 2, the reason we have to compare it to Destiny 1 is because it's not supposed to be an incredible difference. Like, Destiny 1 had its game and then 4 expansions.
Oh.
Destiny 2 is not an expansion to Destiny 1,
No.
but it should be treated as such, almost.
It should just be looked at as an overall improvement. I mean,
Yes.
that's the goal of any
Yeah.
sequel. The
Which
goal
is-
of any sequel
yeah.
is to be just as strong, and then if not better,
Right.
which is why I always put out a second one. And we'll talk about that
And
later
that's-
with the
but
whole
that's why we keep
overarching.
comparing
We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
We'll talk about overarching review. But going back again to factions,
Yes.
a major difference from 1 to 2.
Hey, I want to
Factions-
sidetrack real quick.
Stop. Factions in 1 were all the time. You could always gain
Yep.
stuff, but it was a lot different with that one because you would technically pick a faction, but you could always get experience for all of them. And what I mean by that is
You could switch.
Exactly. You could receive whichever bond or Titan mark or Hunter's cloak for all of them, and then just alternate whichever one you have equipped. That one will earn experience. But this one's a lot different for multiple reasons. This one, it's only seasonal. So we don't technically, as of right now, know when we're getting another faction event.
Right.
We had it last week.
Yep.
And then that went on for a whole weekend. So that covered from Friday to Monday.
Yep.
Yeah,
because weekends in Destiny are Friday to Monday, not Friday to Sunday.
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of stuff going
Time
on.
zone shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a bunch of stuff going on with that. I thought it was really cool the way they did it, and then the way that they did the reward system in this one is they actually had a direct competition now, where based off how many coins and stuff you got for your faction,
You want a dance party.
yeah, it got Well, that's different.
That's
a whole
that's
different.
it. No,
that's
I
a whole
know.
different
Yeah.
bear. Got tallied up into each faction, and then those numbers compared. Whoever won, there was one prize gun for each faction. The winning faction could buy that gun for 1,000 glimmer. The losing factions had to pay 50,000 glimmer
If they wanted it.
if they wanted it.
I didn't want it.
Yeah,
It's not even that good.
Yeah, I didn't want it either. That's why I didn't. I honestly.
I kept my glimmer.
So Dead Orbit won, and that's why it wasn't for me. Even when I looked at the winning gun, I was just like, yeah, it wasn't that cool. Future War Cult would have been the best one. Had explosive rounds for a hand cannon.
Who cares,
Yep.
man? It's Dead Orbit. It's emo as shit.
I hate.
Wow.
Makes me so mad.
It
There's
is.
a fun fact. They actually talk about a lore thing in it about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right near the Dead Orbit faction setup. There's a spot where you can have your ghost decrypt it. I actually just did it this morning.
That's cool.
It's funny enough, they were like, yeah, they're actually talking about a lot of followers for Dead Orbit. I'm looking through the records. It's just all a lot of black stuff, and however everything's like dead and abysmal, but whatever. And they just move on. It's so
I didn't
good.
know that. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's
That's
so
funny.
good. But yeah, so it's definitely different. That's how they're treating a lot of Destiny 1 kind of like events for this one is they're doing seasonal. I think the main reason because of that is they're building way more hype. It's not all the time another thing to daily do. It's no, this is a weekend event, man. Like you gotta this is the time to play. Like right now to get way better gear and stuff. So yeah,
So, Nick,
very cool.
so something else that you brought up multiple different times, and I think you brought it up once.
Oh, yeah.
While we're talking about all
Okay.
this, is the raid.
Yes.
And we need to
Yes.
talk about the raid. Because we waited until we beat the raid to do this, because the raid is such an important thing.
Yeah.
So
You had no idea.
We wanted to
You had
get
no idea how important this was.
Yeah.
wanted to get a
so
whole.
so I'll give you a very quick fact sheet of what a raid is.
Well, after that too, by the way, I want you immediately after that talk about your setup with it. Because
Okay.
yet again, you're new.
Yeah, that's
You've
what's
never.
new.
Because that's the thing, even
You've
too,
never
with
played
how
an
little
MMO?
you've
Yeah,
never.
I've never done an MMO, so I never did a raid.
Yeah, I've done a raid before. So after that, go ham for a little. I want to know
so
feel it, and we'll go.
at least this is what I
Story
got out of
time.
this.
Yeah, right.
So a raid, from what I've played, is a very, very long, in-depth adventure that you go on with 5 of your best friends.
He's right.
It's fair.
And
It's fair.
in this one, there
Fact
there are multiple challenges that you have to do, and these challenges test.
He's right so
I
far.
think you did that. You're just like.
He's right so
So
far.
anyway, so
Oh.
you go and you do all these challenges. So to get to the challenges, traditionally, you have to go through this thing where you get these keys to open this door. I'm not going to spoil things on how to do this.
Yeah.
So you do that, you get these keys, you go in this door, do the first main challenge. Get in there, the first main challenge is a stealth thing, or, well, they change.
It
But the
was,
first
yeah.
one that we did was a stealth thing. So you go around, you do this stealth thing, you beat the stealth thing that's super difficult and took us 5 hours to do the first time. You do that, you get done with it. You leave, you go get the next keys to open the next door.
And also just back up super quick. That's part 1.
Yeah, that's part 1. There are 4 parts.
Exactly.
Go outside, back into this room, get the keys, go in the next door. Go in the next door. That one's basically a puzzle race, kind of. There's 3 people.
Obstacle course.
Yeah, there's 3 people doing things on the or 4 people doing things on the outside, 2 people doing things on the
Obstacle
inside.
course on the
They're
inside, yeah.
running through stuff and picking up orbs. That took us about 3 to
Yeah, I was gonna say
4
that took
hours.
less times. Yeah.
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 So that happened. So you beat that. That was frustrating. Whatever. You leave. You come out. You get keys for the 3rd part. So we are now
There's
at
a
least
pattern here.
9 hours into this. Okay.
Mhm.
So you get the keys. You go into the 3rd part. Go in the 3rd part. There's these chains that you got to move, and you got to kill these big yellow people, and then shoot lanterns.
Yeah.
And it's all very coordinated because people have to move in a V pattern, and they go back and forth, and all this
Mhm.
crazy stuff. Okay. And water can kill you. That's the great part of that
Yes.
one. You
Water-
die from
Water.
Water's
can-
deadly.
Yeah, it's
water,
great. It's
yeah.
wonderful.
That's why I never drink water.
Water hurts.
Jesus. So anyway, so there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with that. That took us maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, that was probably
wasn't
the
that
most simple one.
Exactly. Because that
For
one I
us.
think is the most combat heavy,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is I think why it's way
Yeah,
more.
there's not a lot of strategy to that, kind of.
Just
Yeah.
pattern.
It's
Yeah.
just it's
The
just
second
pattern.
you
It's
get,
just paying attention.
and it's also the simplest pattern of the events.
Yes.
Like you can
There's
explain.
no variables.
Yeah,
So-
you can explain it in 5 minutes and understand it.
So after doing that, you go out, you get the keys for the boss room. Now you would think, okay, because this is what I thought the entire time until I was told to watch a video about it. I thought I was gonna go in there, and I was gonna go in this room, and I was gonna shoot this guy, and he was just gonna die. No, it's another puzzle while you're fighting a boss. So there's enemies, there's the enemy, there's the boss, there's 3 people going into this room where you each have this different sign, and you have to read all 3 signs in succession, and you can't mess them up, and one person sees a different sign than the other person, so it's super coordination while also trying to stay alive, while also trying to fight this boss, and it's crazy. It took us at least 25 to 30 tries the first time.
Yes.
We spent 15 and a half hours on the raid the first time.
There.
The first time.
Keyword.
The first time.
Do you want to
The
tell
first
them
time.
how long it took on the second time?
5 and a half.
There we go.
We cut it down by 10 hours. Now, while you're in the raid,
It's a big
okay, you can go into the raid by yourself. You don't have to go in with 6 people. But you can't do anything by yourself. You can just go to the world.
Well, there's some people that like
except for some
well,
pro motherfucking
yeah.
people who beat the entire raid.
raid by themselves.
Two
somehow.
people is so far the record.
But anyway,
Suck, people. You suck.
anyway, so you can go into. So basically, you're on a big ship. It's called the Leviathan. You can go into the Leviathan. You can.
Spoilers.
It is a goddamn Leviathan.
It is a goddamn Leviathan filled with goddamn purple tomato juice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you go up to these switches, you hit these switches in a certain order, and then you get to go into the belly of the beast. And you get to do all this platforming, go through all these different things. Because when you beat the challenges, you get loot, but you also get these keys. And you can take these keys, you can go and unlock these different things that get you these chests that get you...
That are all
cool-
hidden throughout.
Yeah, they're all hidden. You gotta be
Which is
stealthy.
huge,
You gotta
yeah.
have...
Gotta be sneaky.
Yeah, it's a whole big thing. The raid was probably the most satisfying thing to have beaten because of how long it took.
Completely
But
agree.
it is not something that is like, I'm gonna do the raid today.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared.
Mhm.
Mentally.
You have to know the people that you're doing with it, preferably. You have to trust those people. And every single person has their own job, and every single person has to do it with complete finesse and do it correctly, do it right. And if you don't, everything gets messed up and you start again.
Yeah.
And it is extremely aggravating the first time. But every week it resets. So you can go back in and you can do it all again. And if you do it with the same people, it's 10 times easier.
Mhm.
Because you know what you're doing. You're not spending a half an hour explaining things. You're not watching videos. You're just doing it. You're going at it. You know what you're doing. You're done. You get the cool stuff. You leave.
Well, what I was gonna say super quick too, I think that for anybody who's like thinking about getting into the raid, and you guys might agree or disagree, the 2 biggest things that I say that you need to prep for with the raid is the first thing is knowledge is power.
Mhm.
Knowledge
Yes.
is the most important thing. If you know what to do, even if you've never done it before, as long as you look up and do the research and know what to do, it's the best thing for you. And then the second thing above all else is execution and communication.
Yeah.
And I put those together because they need to be.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
need to be of equal importance. It does not matter how good you are at killing enemies if you're not talking, or vice versa. You could talk all you want, but if you're not killing enemies,
Then you shouldn't be there.
exactly. You need to be able to do both and
Oh, yeah.
balance them
For sure.
just as well.
Yeah, you cannot go into this without a mic. I mean, some people have done it.
It's possible, but God, it makes it,
It's
so
10
difficult.
times harder.
A mil-
What's the
yeah,
sign?
yeah. It's
What's a boomer?
It's a million times more difficult. It's yeah. So anyway,
Oh.
sorry. So what did you? So after that, then
I
know you were
liked
kind
it.
of so yeah. So that's
I
what I was
liked
just gonna say.
I thought the raid introduced something to gaming I haven't done before. Like, I've gone through and I've done missions with people, and I've played online matches with people, and, you know, I've done different puzzle aspects of different games with people. But I don't think I've ever been so involved in what I was doing
Mhm.
in that and felt like, you know, I had a job to do.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do that job, I let everybody down.
Yo, yeah.
And-
There's importance.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Like, it's not like I can go into Call of Duty and park my ass in the corner and get 0
Yeah.
kills and we'll still win. It's, you have to be doing something all the time. And I felt gratified having to do that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I felt like it was, like, I felt good that I had a part, that I knew what I was doing,
Yep.
that, you know, if I messed up my part, it screwed everything up. Like, it was a good feeling.
But also, as a counterpoint even to that too, it's even more so of like, if you know you're doing this one part, you have this part unlocked, and especially if
Right.
you do it well. God forbid, like, even if you weren't with, like, our group and you went solo in a group, you're like, no,
As long as I do
this
my
is
part
my
well.
role. I
Yep.
know how to do it. I got it. And
Yep.
nothing feels more gratifying than walking into, like, that blank slate and being like, no, I know exactly
It's
what to
it's
do.
like
Yeah.
when Nick and I do. It's like when all of us do the gauntlet. Nick and I are like the chosen runners.
The obstacle course.
The obstacle course.
Yes.
Which was very different the night you weren't there, because Nick and I were running.
Yes.
Exactly.
So-
exactly. So when somebody's not there and you have to fill in, you learn something new. It's great.
Well,
But,
even
like-
let's even go off another example off of Gauntlet. When you and me ran Gauntlet with a random group, they performed it differently.
Yeah.
So, like, small thing, people who are listening might not get this as well. So you know how, like, we move plates? They stayed plates.
Yeah, they stayed plates.
They stayed plates the
Yeah.
whole time, and then meleeed their scions and went back to their own plate. So nobody circled.
Nobody circled. It was
So
amazing.
It might be easier, but we were
But
streamlining
this-
it well.
but-
We're streamlining
Yeah,
it
exactly.
well.
I was gonna say that would confuse us, because you would go through and do
Well,
Nick middle,
No,
Nick
no.
middle,
Well,
Grant middle,
what we
Grant top.
announced- So the way we would do it is we would announce the symbol.
Because it's above.
Oh yeah, but I couldn't. Yeah,
no,
no, I'm getting the way we did it.
So to put that in another perspective, though, so me and Grant were totally thrown off in the beginning,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we both were still running.
no.
So it was like, oh crap! So we just went our name, that plate, and then what thing, and then people picked it up quick, and we did it in for us being. I mean, we've done that part like probably 5 or 6 times, completed it. But going into that with new people and doing it a new way, I think it took 3 tries.
Yeah.
I seriously think we did it in 3.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you know what you're doing and you know how to tackle it, it could not be easier. But that's the most important part. It's knowing each spot.
I think personally my favorite part about this raid, as opposed to any of the other raids in Destiny 1, this wasn't hard. None of it was hard at
Yeah.
all. Like
It was just very intellectual.
It was very intellectual. It had you had to communicate super well, and you had to, again, like you said, you had to execute your job.
Yeah.
And that's what a raid to me, like a good raid is to me.
Yes.
You're not just going in and doing a tank and spank where you're just running in, like you said, running and shoot the guy.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
what
what
you're
I
doing.
thought. I was like, yeah, I'll go in, I'm gonna shoot
There's
him, he's gonna
mechanics.
die, we're gonna get.
Because the thing is too, and let me even say it this way super quick too. Like, would you have felt better doing that?
No.
Because you're a level of gratification with how much more complicated it was,
Yes.
and then pulling that off. Yeah, that's like a flip the table over.
Yeah.
Like yes.
Yeah.
One thing.
Like, the initial feeling of when we finally beat it.
Oh my
like,
God, yeah.
I didn't know whether to smile or cry, because I didn't know what was happening. I was like, wait, we're done?
Done.
Are you
It's
serious?
over.
Oh my god, we're done.
I remember my first raid.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, holy
But,
shit, we're done. This is
But
great.
kind of going off what you were saying too, Grant. Like, I think what was what was like a major difference with this raid as opposed to any other ones was this is the first raid ever that had events, not all boss fights.
Yeah.
We always for every other raid, for especially Destiny 1, for people who didn't know, they were always each one of those 4 or 3 or 5 parts was all boss fights that were, like Jeremy was saying too, they were of course not just a regular tank and spank. There were multiple functions to it to then beat that enemy. But I think that's what made this one super important, and also got new players into it really well, because you didn't get minute 1 overwhelmed by the first boss. It was, no, we have to get this event, like we have to coordinate this, and then by the time you hit that final event, you were so coordinated. It was like, let's fucking do this. Let's
kill
go.
this bitch.
Exactly.
Going off of raids, right now there is only one raid, and typically what they did in Destiny 1 was they did one raid per expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably will not see another raid until the expansion comes out.
Yeah,
which
definitely.
We'll talk about that for a quick second, because this will kind of lead into the last thing we want to talk about. So, coming up in December is the first expansion for Destiny. It's we weren't supposed to know the name of it. Microsoft leaked it, so then Bungie told us about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Curse of Osiris. It comes out in December. Sent us back to Mercury, because you were on Mercury in the first game, which I found out earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
In
But
take
anyway,
one.
in take one. Yeah. Oops. So anyway, you go to Mercury, back to Mercury, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that we'll learn about Osiris, is what they told us.
Well, because the whole thing is we got an introduction to that setup in the first one.
Yep.
But we only had Trials of Osiris,
Right.
which is very similar to Trials in
of
this
the
one.
Nine.
Yeah, which is in this one, which we'll go into in a bit. But yeah, so we got even gear that was related to Osiris in the first one. That yet again, you had to look up Grimoire cards online, so almost nobody who did it knew anything about it.
Yep.
And even
Not even me.
exactly, and even for me who looked in a little bit to it, there's still a lot of mystery. It was a lot of this was descended to this person, and
Right.
then there's still though a lot of total mystery of the origins of everything. So I think that's what this is really going to go into, or at least same thing, almost like before of like almost the museum-esque thing, where it's like we're fighting new stuff that doesn't relate, but we're in an environment that's old, and then we learn lore about that place.
Right.
But who knows? Who knows? It's all still up in the air.
So going off of that, so in the first game, what was Trials of Osiris?
So it essentially will be. I feel like we're going to be explaining the same thing here, but it's essentially what Trials of the Nine is now,
Okay.
and what the Trials of the Crucible mode is it's multiplayer matchmaking.
Yep.
Right.
4v4 still.
Yes, exactly. You have your card, which is essentially like a punch card of
From like Subway or whatever, essentially.
Zoops is the best.
There it is. And essentially counts how many times you've won. In Destiny 1, it was a lot harder because you had your wins recorded, which was up to 7, and then you could have one loss. And if you got that one loss, you could essentially lose twice. But on your second loss, then it would wipe your card, and then you had to start new again.
Yep.
And based off how many wins you got, which was every odd number, right? It was
Well,
1, 3, 5, 7.
I didn't think they had that in the first one. I don't think you got a reward on one win. I think if I remember, you only got wins on 3, 5, and 7.
So you got an engram for your first one. It was always every time. Yeah, they always gave you like essentially a powerful engram.
Crap.
Yeah,
They gave you crap.
They gave you something. Yeah, it wasn't.
They still gave you crap.
It wasn't really too much, but yeah, they gave you something. But and then in this one with Trials of the Nine for Destiny 2, same exact concept. 7 checks, same thing. You get rewards at every odd integer. But then now 3 losses, and then once you hit that 3 loss mark, card gets wiped. You have to start over again.
Which I think is a lot nicer.
Yeah, and also with Trials with this one for Destiny 2, it's also on the weekends. So from Friday to Monday is when you can participate in those.
So Trials of Osiris is what it was called in the first game. The second game it's called Trials of the Nine.
Yeah.
And the Nine are like eternal beings that watch over the universe.
Kind of, yeah, essentially.
They're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to clear it up a lot better, though.
They made the Infinity Stone.
No! No. What they do
You
essentially...
can go to the collector and he'll show you a little video about it. They're these giant beings.
What they do is, they're essentially, if we're going to go Marvel references, they're essentially Watchers.
Yes.
Because they cannot be directly involved, which
Right.
is why a million people, once Trials came out, I cannot tell you how many times I saw on message boards that I had to try to clean up for people of, why didn't the emissaries of the Nine go to fight when the light got attacked in the beginning? They're Watchers, they don't actually get involved. They can only
I
protect what
heard
they-
Trials of the Nine and then was very confused why it was only 7 wins. So I was completely out of the loop.
Yeah. And to go
As
in,
you do.
yeah, and to go into more lore for Trials of the Nine at least, because Trials of Osiris they actually didn't really go into much, but it's essentially the same thing. So it was 9 celestial essentially beings that watched over the light, and tried to protect it in ways that they could, but obviously you can't get directly involved. Xur, who everybody knows from the first one, was
He's a dude with a squiggly face that reminds me of the guy from Resident Evil 4.
Yes,
Pretty great.
the weekend shopkeeper, if you will, who gave out amazing exotics. The only time I will say Destiny 1 I think had it a lot better was I think Xur in Destiny 1 was a lot better because you could always get exotic engrams as well as like 6 pieces of gear, where this one no exotic engram in general, and then only
Exotic
those set
weapon.
pieces.
And then a piece for each class.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes 2 weapons.
I haven't seen the 2 weapons, but I also haven't been there every week.
That's why, yeah. Because I think this week they actually had 2 weapons for
Because
it.
I'm at 305. I don't need.
Yeah, exactly,
I don't
yeah.
need 270 gear.
That's true. Well, and plus we also have like the best exotics already. So it's not like if we were missing
Humble
Merciless
brag,
or
why don't you?
Well, I'm just saying, if we were missing Merciless or something, yeah. If we were missing Merciless or something, then it
Oh
would be.
god, that fucking OP multi-tool. God.
But But no, so going off of trials essentially, so the whole part of to get the 7 wins is to appease the celestial beings. There's actually a whole hub world specifically for that, which is really cool and was not in the first one, so I thought that was really neat. So yeah, it pretty much covers trials.
There was, but only if you won all 7.
That is true. That is
It was
very
called
true.
the Lighthouse.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. But this one,
Damn,
you can go to it
Lighthouses
immediately.
always causing problems.
Or making the
Kyle.
best games ever.
Stand with Kyle. Hashtag effort unfair.
Speaking of which, going back to the clans, which we completely missed.
Oh yeah,
If
yeah.
you-
Shameless clan plug.
If you want to be a part of our clan, you absolutely can. We're always taking new members. Our clan title is #StandWithKyle. It is an inside joke that we can
No, the clan is stand for Kyle.
stand for Kyle. Okay, stand for
It's
Kyle.
very important.
Stand for Kyle.
Stand
not
for
the,
Kyle.
Not the number 4. STANDFORKYLE.
Yes.
With the hashtag in front.
Yes. You may apply, or I think you just need to send an invite.
Yeah, just send an invite.
and we'll get you in. We're running raids every week.
Yeah.
The more people, the
You
better.
help us, we help you.
Help us, help
me,
you.
help you.
Well, what I was gonna say in general too was, as well, if you're like super confused with how the invites and stuff work as well, just leave a comment with your gamer tag in the comment section,
We'll
and then
invite
we
you.
can definitely
Yep.
get you guys up.
Yeah,
So-
because what's cool is if you ever want to play with us, because the majority of the people that watch this podcast we know. If you ever want to play with us or anything, just drop that down there. And
Drop
we'll
a
be like,
like.
hey,
Yeah.
hey, yeah.
Going off of the raid and such, yeah, we raid typically 2, sometimes 3
3
times in 1
sometimes
week.
5.
So, yeah, so yeah, if you ever do want
Depends
to
on how
participate,
desperate we are.
yeah, if you ever need to hop
Or
in with
if
us,
we only get half of it finished, and then the rest of your friends finish it without you. And
hey, we both got burned by
Or it could be a thing where there's 8 people in the friend group currently that play the raid with us, and 6 of us complete it and the other 2 don't, so we were running.
very
Listen,
fair,
Jeremy,
very
it could be way worse. You could be playing Destiny 1 and then be like super pumped for a raid, and then like one of your best friends just like plays a whole raid without you, and then doesn't, and then when you have to see the next day on their Xbox gamer score that they got an achievement for doing the raid.
It also could be
I mean, no personal experience whatsoever. I wouldn't even know where that came from.
It could be a lot worse too. I could be playing
Love you,
Destiny 1 and everybody could be talking about raiding and I get on and they're actually talking about Destiny 2. That would be a lot worse.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
That's very
Fair
true.
point. I just want to put that out there, though. I would never leave any of my friends behind.
Lies. 100%
Never.
lies. 100% lies. Total fallacies. So
I'm
anyway.
keeping my mouth shut on that one.
Yeah, there we go.
Alright guys, so real quick, before we finish this whole super long anticipated episode, I have one question for each of you.
Okay.
Hold on. What
He's
are we?
holding.
What are we expecting for the future?
You can read the notepad.
Way to bust the illusion, Jeremy.
They know that the notepad exists. They know it's a
They
thing.
don't know. They
It's
don't
true.
know.
Anyway, I mean, what's written here is law. You know that.
Yes, that is
Mhm,
true.
mhm.
So anyway, what do you hope for the future of Destiny 2, Grant?
More raids, more fun, more laughs with my friends. I'm hoping that they nerf the Mida and the Last Hope.
There it is.
Those are 2 weapons.
Mhm.
Make everything a little bit more fair. And
Buff hunters.
no, fuck that. Fuck you guys. And just I'm hoping for more raids. That's all I need.
My I definitely agree.
Keep me from going back to WoW, please.
Yeah, there you go. My whole thing with raids is keep them innovative, most
Mhm.
importantly.
Mhm.
If we, even for the next one, for example, like if we have Curse of Osiris and there's a whole Osiris raid, I'm okay with the next one being boss fights. Like, boss fights for every checkpoint. My thing is just keep it new and interesting. I don't want to walk into a room immediately and go, oh, I know exactly how to do this one. No, I want a blind, terrifying, intimidating experience every time, because that's what makes
A
the
giant
raids.
floating purple head that barfs skulls at you.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I want to be horrifically intimidated, because that only makes the victory that much more satisfying.
Mhm.
That's a major one. The other one that I really want
You
is...
said quick, Nick. You said quick.
I know. The other one that I really want is just as much frequent updates. So I want
Yes.
a lot of weekend events. I would even like some during the week events. I'd
Yeah.
love like a Monday to Friday one Like, you know what I mean?
That might be a little smaller.
Because with my
Yeah.
schedule, I don't even get to play on the weekends.
That's what I'm saying. So
Hey,
exactly.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Hey.
So exactly. So for stuff like that, I would love that. Yeah, even potentially like new type of loot system or some type of and this is going way down the road, but I definitely would be interested to see how they're going to tackle this time around the first DLC, how to entice new players into it once they start, and how they're going to keep veteran players from not getting burned by just starting a new account and getting amazing gear right out the gate. That's going to be interesting.
I'm also excited for the comeback. Like, because
Yeah.
we're, we've beaten the raid, we've done everything. We're going to get bored, we're going to start playing other games.
Yeah.
Like, Shadow
Like-
War when it comes out on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Like
Exactly.
the Overwatch Halloween event that comes out on Tuesday.
So excited. So excited.
And it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for the comeback.
Yeah.
I like when everybody's like, you know what? Let's pop in Destiny again.
Yeah.
Let's kill some
Or,
shit.
as you've said before, let's get the band back together.
There it is.
A
The
and take one.
yeah, shout out to Take One.
Well, I mean, you also just say that sometimes, too.
The last thing that I really am looking forward to at Destiny 2 is more story.
Yes.
Like, I seriously just want the next expansion. I want more story to be told.
Did I say that in take one? I think I said
I think you said that in take one.
shit.
I don't know.
For
But
those of you
anyway,
very
we want more
confused-
story.
For those of you very confused, this is the second time that we were doing this episode because my computer decided to be a dickhead and not save the first episode. So we already did this!
Yo, shout out to Jeremy's dickhead laptop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think we did a pretty good job of making
Yes.
you think that this was the first time we did it.
So Jeremy,
So Nick,
before we just like finally wrap this up then. So we're obviously talking about our stuff to look forward to. As a new player, is there anything different?
I want
Kind
more
of the same stuff?
I want more of exactly what I have.
Got it.
Like everything that I have, I like.
Okay.
I just want more of it. I don't want to get bored. I want the
So,
same kind
I
of
just
stuff.
want to make sure because obviously we were talking about a lot of veteran
So,
stuff, but that's where I was like, I didn't know if there was something new.
If they came out with a raid called Sea Demigorgon, and it was just literally a reskin but underwater, you'd be fine with that.
I'd like a little bit of
Okay,
difference.
okay.
I'd like a little bit of a difference, yeah.
I love that. I'm like, God damn.
Ah,
I want
now we gotta
something
go
different.
shoot the dolphins that are just making me kill things I don't want to kill.
Yo, that'd be amazing. That'd be sick. Dude, imagine if
Yeah,
there
and,
was...
and then I can go, God damn it, it's another Leviathan!
I mean, seriously, I mean, like, now we're going on a tangent, of course, but, like, what I would really love, too, is, like, if they did have some type of water setup, and then the jump mechanic was then different.
Oh,
See what I'm saying?
like space jumping?
Yes.
Oh, that'd
that
be
would
pretty
be
cool.
sick. And then that would
Yo,
even, like...
think moon gravity from Tony Hawk.
Yeah. But then imagine, too, if there was, like, a whale-sized enemy that would then, like, barrel through, so you had to, like, coordinate where to move.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, and you would just get,
Can
like,
we
smacked.
not
Anyway.
think of that?
Well, we always do what if scenarios.
I know.
So anyway.
Okay, so, last thing
Yeah.
before we start doing plugs and shit,
Okay.
how do you rate the game?
Well, I'm going to give it an 8.9.
Okay.
Okay, alright, mister.
Because it's a
Goddamn
great
right.
game.
Yep,
It's it's exactly what I want,
yep,
but they can always do better.
okay.
Damn. It's a little bit harsh.
It's Bungie. They can do
They
better.
can do better.
Damn, savage.
They can always do better.
I'm setting it.
It's Bungie basically partnered with Blizzard. They can do better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'm very happy with what I got. I'm giving it a 9 purely
Well,
based
I mean,
off that. fact.
I think Grant's just saying there's room for improvement. They can do better. We
Oh,
can
of course.
get more better.
I'm
Well,
not
I mean,
saying
we're gonna
I'll
keep
never
getting
give
more
it.
stuff.
I'll never give it 10, but I'll never give it 10.
Dude, fuck that shit. That break can suck my ass and Nightfall suck dick. 7.8 out of 10. Too many Nightfalls. But no, I would give it a 9. Amazing game. Got
Too
me.
much lean.
Got me. Got me.
So much
God
lean.
damn it. Got me right back. That's the rating for just the raid, not the entire game.
Yeah.
The whole.
No, the entire game. Too much lean.
Well, wait till they do Curse of Osiris, and then there's too much lean. You thought you saw purple now? Wait till you see that. So anyway, going back to my 9 rating.
Yep.
Amazing. They literally polished pretty much every element of it from top to bottom, as you heard us talk about this entire time.
For the past hour.
I was very nervous getting back into this one. Destiny 1 kind of really was just kind of a slow burn for almost the whole game, and then the last DLC kind of got our
Taken
like
King.
yeah, kind of really got
I
like
mean,
the
they completely revamped the entire game and made it like 10 times better. They made it into Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Essentially.
yeah. So it really kind of like sucked us in there. But then with Destiny 2, yeah, they only improved on everything. The raid was really solid. The loot system was way more like, set upon. Even now they have their own LFG.
Mhm.
So it's
Looking
every
for group.
yes,
by the way.
yeah,
Paired with Xbox is amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
They improved everything, and I can't wait to see more. So for the vanilla Destiny 2, I give it a 9 out of 10. I want it exactly almost what Grant said. I want to see more. I know they can put out more, and I can't wait to get more. So I have to wrap that one up for me. So Jeremy?
Unfortunately, my rating this time, because this is Take Two, is not going to hit you guys quite as hard. But
Wow.
it's going to hit everybody else just as hard. Because
Hold on.
Get a grip.
I'm giving this game the first ever rating of absolutely fucking fantastic.
Holy shit!
There it is. We're going to have to definitely lower the mic on that one.
No, maybe not. He backed up a little bit when he
Yeah,
said
I did that purposely. I looked up and I
that.
went back
Yeah,
here.
he might be
I
alright.
bet you dollars to donuts when you edit that shit.
You're just gonna be like, fuck.
Remember that one? Do you remember
Yes. Oh, I
cutting
remember.
back to
Oh, I
yeah?
remember.
That one time with the
Can you edit in
I
a flashback?
I guarantee you we're gonna have that same issue on that one.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway,
And then I'm gonna zoom in, everything's gonna go black and white, and be like, this is the moment, Grant, you fucked up. Anyway.
beforehand you're gonna have to go like sound check in 3, 2, 1.
I'm just gonna pause the video. And
Headphone
you're just
warning.
gonna see me on top of the video.
Hey,
and be
guys.
I'm just warning you. You're gonna want to mute your headphones right now.
Yeah.
I could not edit this. I am so
It's just
So
sorry.
flashes,
sorry.
headphone warning. Headphone
Yeah.
warning.
Take them off right now. Holy shit! All right, put it back on. You're good. Anyway,
yeah. So it pretty much
On
covers
a nu-
Destiny.
on a number scale though,
Oh, okay.
I would give
Oh.
it a 9.5 out of 10.
There it is. Yeah. 9.5.
So,
Go.
Hey, game of the year?
That's too
I know
early
it's
to call.
early. But would you give
Well,
it
how
game
about
of the year?
how about that?
Out of what's coming
No,
out
no,
so
no.
far?
Okay, hang on,
No,
hang
no,
on,
let's
hang on.
pause. Hold on.
Slow
hold on.
down.
I have a better one. Best game you've played this year?
no.
No?
What?
was
Maybe
it?
I don't know.
No, hold-
Okay, so here's the thing though. I'm not gonna give this game of the year because I think there's too many contenders
Well, that's
right now.
yeah. There's what Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed, Wolfenstein coming up.
But
There's so
out
many.
of-
Zelda.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps forgetting Zelda exists.
No. Zelda happened though.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So game of the year, I think it's a contender.
Oh, absolutely.
Shooter of the year, I think it's going to win.
Okay.
There it is.
I mean,
That's even
I think you're
before
right.
Call of Duty.
Zelda
Yes.
probably will take not a game of the year, but that's a whole other podcast. We can talk about
I
later.
personally,
Yeah.
I'm thinking Mario.
I think Mario's going to take game of the year.
I think
Mhm.
Nintendo's gonna
Yeah.
own it. I think Nintendo's gonna
yeah.
be like, we got the 2 top spots, bitches. Everybody settle down.
So I hate
What?
to be the negative Nancy, but there's always the possibility it could tank.
It won't tank.
You-
Mario's
hold
not
on.
going to tank.
Pause.
Hang on,
Pause.
this is for a different podcast.
I know.
Yeah, hold on. Pause. Open world Mario, when is it bad? Never. Bingo. There it is. Thank you.
There's only been 2.
I was gonna say, how many
Exactly.
have there been?
But those 2 are the most infamous games almost of all
Third
time.
time's the charm.
Exactly. So it's gonna get game of the year and literally
I
blow
think
people's
it's going to
minds.
be game of the year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Anyway.
Future prediction
Yeah.
on
Future
Destiny
prediction.
podcast of all things.
Yeah, future prediction
Anyway.
on the Destiny podcast.
Speaking of upcoming
Super Mario
stuff.
Odyssey is
Yeah.
getting okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, upcoming stuff as we said before. Shadow of War comes out on Tuesday.
Yep.
The Overwatch Halloween event comes out on Tuesday.
Just as pumped.
The Evil Within 2, which I'm wearing the shirt even though it's backwards on your screen.
Yes.
Evil Within 2
Apologies.
comes out on Friday the 13th, which is awesome because it's a super scary game. And so does Friday the 13th. And
Not to be confused with Friday the 13th.
yeah, really. Not to be confused with the other Friday the 13th. No, I'm kidding. They're the same. It's a game based off of the movie, based off of the day. That's the thing.
Yes.
Anyway, there's also another game that I didn't mention in Take 1 that also comes out on Friday. WWE 2K18, as well as the Gran Turismo Sport Limited Edition.
Yes.
So,
Gran Turismo.
those things are all happening on
I
Friday.
don't care about any of those.
I know
games.
you
Damn
don't.
savage.
You care about Shadow of War.
You care about Shadow War? You care about
And-
Overwatch?
No, I don't. I was
You
saying
meant
the
those
Friday,
latest,
the new one,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Friday.
yeah.
Hey, I
release.
care about the Evil Within.
Evil
I think
Within
the
2
Evil
looks
Within's gonna
good.
be good.
That's
Evil
fine.
But anyway.
Good.
So, now that you guys have spent an hour and 15, 20 minutes with us, we would like to propose to you guys a little bit of a goal.
Yeah, first time for us.
People
Yeah,
like
first
goals.
goal.
Yeah.
It's gonna be your,
So-
that's gonna be your first shirt. People like goals.
People like goals. Hashtag goals. Hashtag stay woke.
Mhm.
So, if this video on
Unfair.
YouTube
Mm-hmm.
can get 5 likes,
Bam, 5.
we
Not 10, but 5.
we will have Grant. I know you guys like Grant.
Do we? I don't even.
They'll
like
find
me.
out. We'll find out.
We'll
in the
find out
comments.
if they like
We'll
the video.
find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
if you guys like the video, and if we get 5 likes on it, then we will have Grant back for the next podcast where we talk about the Overwatch Halloween event
Yes. And Shadow of War.
and Shadow of War.
Which-
And
Grant
we'll
is
be
super
doing
pumped
we'll be doing streams of that too, right?
Yes.
On Tuesday.
100%.
Now, the other thing that's going to be really, really cool is we have been teasing an announcement video for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And the announcement is pretty much ready to go.
Yep.
I don't even know about this.
There's a
announcement.
little bit...
You definitely know about
There's
this.
a little bit of a tease in this episode of what said announcement would be. But if we can get you guys to share it 5 times on Facebook, and it does not count if it's shared by me, Nick, Grant, Q, Kyle, or Zach.
Yeah.
Those 6 people, those shares do not count.
Specifically
So-
for a reason.
If you guys can share this video 5 times on Facebook, 5 times, we might release that announcement video a little early.
Hey,
So get ready.
everybody likes early announcements.
Yes, that's very
Early
true.
releases.
All that stuff.
So it'll kind of be like a midnight release for
Yes.
our...
Breaking
Awesome
hashtag breaking
announcement.
street dates.
We don't do midnight releases anymore. It's 9 p.m.
So
You know
anyway,
what? I'm gonna release the damn thing a day early, you fucker.
so anyway,
I'm
that's
gonna
why
break street
that's
date.
why I said hashtag break street date. So anyway,
Hashtag
guys.
fake news.
Anyway, guys, so to round that off, by the way, I think you have 100% broken your record of recorded pen throws on an episode. No, don't do it again.
Hold
No,
on.
let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Are we counting between take 1 and 2?
Oh, between take 1 and 2, between take 1 and 2, Jeremy's never breaking the record.
Hey, you know-
Jeremy would literally have to go, welcome to the
You-
fucking podcast.
you should have seen it earlier. I was having a conversation with Kyle, and it was like a little bit of a heated conversation.
Yeah.
I just kept punching the thing in front of me, like putting my hand down. I'm like, "This is not happening." It was getting a little real.
Anyway, guys.
So pen throws, I like doing them.
So, in case you guys have complete ADD and forgot what's even going on,
Today is Sunday, October 8th, 2017. This is episode 25, the Destiny podcast episode.
yes,
We are Players of the Round Table.
Bingo.
This is the All Around podcast.
it is.
I'm Jeremy. This is Nick. That's Grant.
Yes. So,
We
Grant,
love you guys.
where can people find you at?
They can find me on twitch.tv
Yep.
/Sora of the Light, and the of has a 0 instead of an O.
Got it.
So that is SORA0FTHE Light.
There we go. Good stuff.
Light, for those of you that can't spell light.
Grant,
However,
do you have a Facebook page?
I do. And that one's a little different. It is facebook.com/Sora of the Light. Spelled completely normal.
There we go.
There's
No
no
zero.
zero
There's
in
no
the
zero.
Facebook page.
Yes.
Twitch had it taken. Facebook didn't. It was a kind of...
However, like normal, you will be able to find us sharing all of Grant's stuff on the Players of the Round Table page.
Yes.
Because he's a friend.
Yes.
friend
And
of a friend of a friend, I guess. No.
yeah,
I mean,
and also
you are a friend of a friend
yeah,
Of a friend of a friend.
of a friend of a friend.
direct friends. Anyway, so so to round out our stuff as well, you can always check out stuff on our YouTube. Obviously, Players of the Round Table.
Yep.
We also have a Twitch as well, which, as Grant was even talking about too, I'll be doing the Overwatch Halloween event there, which is
Twitch.tv/Players of the Round Table.
There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then for the YouTube channel, in case for some crazy reason you're watching this episode super into it and have not subscribed for some fucking crazy reason, subscribe button's right there. Hit it.
Smash
You
that
get-
subscribe button.
Exactly.
Hey, Grant, do that again. But then move over a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right there. No, a little
No.
too far. Right there.
There you go.
There's underneath Grant's finger, there's a bell.
Mhm.
And if you
The
hit that
bell.
bell, you'll get notifications
Ding,
and
ding, ding,
emails
ding,
about
ding,
when we
ding,
upload
ding,
this
ding.
stuff,
Yes.
and you can come watch it.
And any type of announcement too, in case we give a heads up of, hey, we're gonna start doing a Twitch stream, or heads up on that. And as well, I think I don't know if we plugged it yet, but of course, then we have our Facebook page as well, Players of the Round Table.
That's the most important one. You're going to want to go there.
Bingo. All of our updates are out for all of that. Like I said, when we want to talk about even Grant stuff and share that out, when me and Jeremy are obviously doing our things, when we're doing
The
Twitch
guys over at
streams.
Two Guys One Live Stream.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. We update everybody on everything that's going on there. That's the most important spot to check out. But of course, on that note, guys, good evening, good night, and as always, good luck.
Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to share it. We will see you guys next time.
Adios, everybody.